Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. 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 What are we talking about in the chat? Who's taking sleeping pill? What's going on in the chat? How is everybody? Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody today? Hey, Jamie. Can you guys hear me all right? Why are we talking about sleeping pills? Is somebody feeding somebody sleeping pills? Hello, hello. You've been waiting for me. Wasn't I supposed to start at 2 o'clock? So you guys were just like hanging out outside the classroom. Is that what's going on here? Yes. All right, all right. Why would Gypsy Rose tell Nick her mom took a sleeping pill? Is it because she was already? I think that Gypsy's mom was already dead. I thought that for a while. Jamie's always in trouble here. Pop on while I work. Oh, okay. You've been waiting here for a while. Hey, Grateful Graham. Yeah, there was no drugs in her system. Did something new come out on Gypsy Rose that I missed while I was sleeping? I know that there was no drugs in Dee Dee's system. No numbing agent. I talked about that a while. Milo, Danny. Yeah, so Milo's chilling. He went through his little he had one of those freeze bones, and Danny is now finishing up his freeze bone. It wasn't frozen this time. I did see her live yesterday. I put a video out on it. I didn't watch it from her channel. I watched it from Renelle Smith. I didn't hear anything about this sleeping pill that she gave her mom. Was that on the live? As far as I know, she gave her mom nothing. She gave her mom no numbing agent. You know, there was insulin in that house. That would have been a peaceful way to go, right? That would have been a peaceful way to go. I mean, think about it. Just think about this. If the Roundup story was true and all that stuff was true, why wouldn't Gypsy automatically think of poison? What am I? Are you talking to me, RL? Walking out the front door would have been the nicest way to go. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Let me tell you something. I think Gypsy brutally attacked her mom. I really do. And the fact that she's walking around like knowing that and getting away with it is like something she's getting high off of. You know that, right? Hey, Joy. Yeah, I think she's still lying to Nick. I'm gonna try to write to Nick later today, just to say hello. That's the first time I ever heard her mention anything about giving her mom any sleeping pill or anything. That's the first time, and it's not true because there was nothing in her system, and that would have been in her system simply because nothing would have broke it down because the woman died, right? I never Honestly, if I saw it, I don't remember seeing it. Okay. So they're from the text messages that she said that, but there was nothing there. I don't think so, Diet Pepsi drinker, because your body has to break it down, right? And if your body's not working to break it down, it sits there, I would think. It doesn't just dissolve on its own. It would be in there. So that's my thing about it. I don't care that NPG knows I don't care. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Irish Ivy AJ. I've not let anybody I don't Nick tells them. So I don't have to tell them, make the announcement. Nick tells them. And I can see how well it's working out for Nick because they're really making a difference for him, you know? Guys, I honestly don't know. We could debate this, and does anybody honestly know? Does anybody honestly know? If somebody dies, I would think that their drugs would still be in their system if their body can't do anything about it. That's what I would say. And the baby, yeah, there's something wrong with that baby. I don't mean it like that. I keep saying that. God forbid if there's really a baby, I don't want anything to be wrong with it. There's something wrong with the idea of the baby, right? That baby's awfully quiet for a newborn, and Gypsy's just so at ease with it. Like, come on, a baby just comes into your house, a brand new baby that needs everything from you. I was so freaked out among my new nieces and nephews. Are you kidding me? That's what I said. The baby is too quiet. Okay, so listen. All right, so hang on. I'm pinning this because this is something that I appreciate, but I don't want you guys fighting. They could say whatever they want about me. Anybody that wants to seriously have a conversation with me can have a conversation with me like we're having one. If they don't want to do that, they can sit and say anything they want. They have channels to say whatever they want. I don't care. Nick gets mail from me. I'd like to write to him more, but I'm afraid to write to him because I don't want him to think I'm pressuring him. So I just want to send him something consistently to let him know that I'm here and he can reach out to me anytime, or he doesn't have to reach out to me anytime. But he should always know I'm here. And about once a month, I want to send him $20 so that he could just have something and that he knows, that he can get something, because I'm not too sure that NPG is giving him anything. MPG Cornerstone. I'm treading as nice as I can, but I'm not going to be anything else to anybody else. I'm not going to be. Nick knows that that I worked in a jail. Nick knows, my history. I wrote to him. You know. All right. What about the pictures of the family on the day the baby came home? You don't have to show baby in pictures. Man, of course not. Of course not. Of course not. You could blurry the face. Listen, I did a video, and what makes sense to me was that, remember when Christy was saying, uh, would I be going on a road trip if the baby? So I think that there was some sort of misunderstanding in what they were supposed to tell people, and they got it wrong. I think that Christy said the wrong thing, that she misunderstood Gypsy, or Gypsy wasn't clear in what she said. And that is just, you know what I mean? Because Christy said on the 30th that there was a baby. Would I be going somewhere? And I really think that she honestly believed. No, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that Gypsy told her to say something and they just got it wrong. That's what I think happened. That's what I think happened. Lack of communication. Guys, it looks like TikTok is actually going to be banned. Do you guys know anything about that? I think the baby's Ryan's. I'm more convinced than ever that the baby's Ryan's if there's a baby. If there's a baby. I don't think Elon's buying it. Do you think Twitter was a good investment for him? I'm just asking. I think it was a good investment to get the president that he wanted in the office. Yeah. So you guys don't think there's a baby either. I don't know how she's going to play that off, to be honest with you, but not enough people call Gypsy out on her shit like the mainstream media, so she can get away with whatever. Hell, she got away with MURDER, right? Guys, what do you think about what's going on in California? Guys, what do you think about what's going on in California? I've heard some stuff about California that I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but why didn't they have any water inside those friggin' the water hydrants? Why didn't they have water? Why didn't they have water pressure? How could that have happened? How can you go to a water hydrant and there's no water in it? They found that some of the fires were started intentionally, Kathy. What about that I saw something on the news, and I promise you I saw something. It was on YouTube, but it was a thing from the news that had to do with somebody honestly saying on the news, on a real news, because the Olympics are going to be in Los Angeles and there's another big event that's going to be in Los Angeles, right? Listen, I'm serious. And the guy was talking about how excited he was about rebuilding LA 2.0. And he said, yeah, it'll be great. We can rebuild. It'll be perfect for the Olympics. We're going to start right away. And the other thing that was and the third thing he mentioned was, "Oh yeah, and just like that, like an afterthought. Oh yeah, and it'll be great for the rebuilding of the people, for the people. The people were the last thing he mentioned. They were an afterthought. What do you think about that? No, 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 Salma. No, 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 no. How about there was no water in the water hydrants? And how about the person that got that job got $400,000 more than the person that had that job a few months before? How about that they cut back? They got more money, but they cut back on stuff like that on fire department and what's needed. How about that? It is a little similar to the Maui fires, except the Maui fires went after the poor. These went after the rich. Yep. So far, I think 24, 25. All right, guys. So let me make the TV lower because it's a little loud, and we'll get to the book. Okay. Hello, Danny. You know, the dogs only want to give me attention when I'm sitting in front of the computer. Otherwise, they don't want to spend any time with me. Well, Milo does. He does. All right, guys, are we ready? You got your popcorn, Lady Lola? Lady Lolo. Okay, let's see. I think it's sad that people lost their homes in the United States of America and there weren't any water in the fire hydrants. That's like some third world country shit. You know what I'm saying? I can't do wine. Gives me a migraine. Guys, do you want me to read my book at some point? One of my books at some point? A couple of you were asking. Somebody asked me not to smoke. I told them it's legal here and I work enough. I can do this in my own time. All right. Well, I'll let you guys decide. I will let you guys decide if you want me to read my nonfiction book or if you want me to read my fiction book. So one is a self-help book and one is a fiction book. We're gonna finish the Shari Franke book. Yeah, I'm allowed to smoke, right? Both books? Holly Jolly, you're asking for too much. Smoking nonfiction, nonfiction, nonfiction. You know, by the way, you guys, just so you know, you can go on Kindle and you can get my books for free. If you're part of Prime, excuse me, you're able to get those books for free. So please help yourself. And I think it's $2.99 if you're not part of Prime. Or you just wait for me. All right. So guys, I want you to know that I look at how big I made the font. Tell me you're getting old without telling me you're getting old. All right. Are you ready, spaghettis? All right. We are not getting old. Well, listen, we're either getting old or we're dying. So I'll take we're getting older. How's that? Don't be funny. Mine's a pre-roll. All right. Chapter 5, guys. All right. When I was 8, hold on. Let me move the Chapter 5, Pioneers. When I was 8 years old, we moved into our first detached family home. Finally, a swing set in the yard. I spent countless hours on those swings, pumping my legs and imagining I could touch the sky. Ruby, in her enthusiasm for a fresh start, immediately set about painting the walls and doors various shades of yellow, her favorite color. Mommy, I once asked, why does everything have to be so bright? The garish hue was overwhelming, making every room feel loud and chaotic. She just beamed at me, clearly proud of her handiwork. It's cheerful. Don't you feel happy looking at it? I didn't have the heart to tell her that it mostly made me feel like I was trapped inside a giant banana. Our house was in Springville, a flat, sprawling a flat, sprawling settlement. The only thing about this book is that she puts a lot of the same first letters together. So they're tongue twisters. So our house in Springville, a flat, sprawling settlement of around 10,000 people, founded in 1850 by LDS pioneers, so Latter-day, the Mormons. Springville is nestled at the foot of the Wasatch Mountains. Those mountains marked the edge of the world to me for the longest time. If you're after fine dining and high culture, you might be disappointed by Springfield's offerings. We have a Walmart, a neighborhood grocery store, a couple Taco Bells, and an IHOP. That's about it. For more interesting entertainment options, people make the 15-minute drive to Provo or Spanish Fork. The Osmonds were from Provo, Utah. Springville doesn't have its own temple, so many residents drive to the Provo temple to worship. It used to look like a wedding cake spaceship, an oval with a spire that resembled a UFO, but they've since added a more conventional red brick building. For the classic white LDS temple experience, it's an hour and a half drive north to the awe-inspiring Salt Lake Temple in Salt Lake City. Its tallest central eastern spire, wait a minute. Its tallest central eastern spire, crowned by the golden statue of the angel Moroni. Moroni? I don't know. Some Mormon person, I guess. Any of you seen the Mormon temple in Maryland, in the DC area? It looks like the Wizard of Oz. I mean, seriously, has anybody seen that? You guys, if you get a chance, just look at the temple. Like, look online. Mormon temple in Maryland, and outside of DC, like right outside of DC. It looks like what the Wizard of Oz. Mormon temples? You have Mormon temples in Idaho? It does look like Oz, right? No, but I saw the one in Alberta. I've not seen the one in Alberta. Okay. All right. I remember how the nerves fluttered in my stomach as I stepped into the baptismal font, the water lapping at my ankles through the lace of my white jumpsuit. I was 8 years old and about to officially take my first significant steps into my LDS faith through baptism. As I was submerged beneath the surface, I felt a rush of peace. I was safe now, protected by God and my faith, no matter what else happened around me. For what were Ruby's tantrums and tirades compared to the eternal truths of the gospel? Wait a minute, let me read that again. For what were Ruby's tantrums and tirades compared to the eternal truths of the gospel? Baptism felt like safety, security, and warmth, and I clung to that, feeling like a lifeline. Writing in my journal how being baptized felt like a warm waffle had been laid on top of me. A warm waffle. Okay. Around this time, Ruby felt I was old enough to have the talk. Oh, God. How old was she? 8? Okay. The talk about the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees. Hang on, I gotta find it. Um, okay. The front porch of our new home was the setting, and I don't remember exactly what prompted the discussion. Maybe I had asked an innocent question about babies, but I do recall struggling to process this new and frankly disturbing information. I asked Ruby how long it had to stay in for a girl to get pregnant. Her vague answer, some arbitrary number. Oh, God. How long does it have to stay in? Some arbitrary number only added to my bewilderment. In my young mind, I imagined couples setting timers, treating the act with the same clinical detachment as baking a cake. Plug it in for 30 seconds and voila, a baby is on the way. I wonder if that's what Gypsy thought. I got an owie. Oh yeah, yeah. My my worldview shifted dramatically as suddenly every adult I saw became a participant in this bizarre ritual. That happened to me when I first realized where babies came from. I was like, everybody's doing that? So I was older though, but anyway. So let me reread that. My worldview shifted dramatically as suddenly every adult I saw became a participant in this bizarre ritual. Our neighbor, taking out his garbage, had done this strange act. When our bishop drove by with his kids, I was mortified. Oh my gosh, my bishop too? The idea that these respectable adults, pillars of our community, engaged in such an act was almost too much to bear. I was left with a sense of disgust and confusion, viewing sex as a weird, slightly gross thing that adults obviously did out of duty to God rather than desire. That makes sense. Gypsy shit didn't make no sense. What do you think? In my family, it's a tradition to mark a child's baptism with a gift of their first set of scriptures. Mine was bound in rich leather with my name embossed in gold on the cover. Though the language within those pages often eluded me, I spent hours poring over each verse, highlighting favorite passages in a rainbow of colors. As soon as I began to learn about the story of Joseph Smith, the prophet and founder of our church, my fascination with my religion spilled over into obsession. I loved this swashbuckling character who dared to challenge the religious establishment of his day back in the 1830s. I was captivated by the stories of his treasure hunting adventures, transformed into holy quests, how his trances and visions gave rise to a whole new religion. Most little girls are into Disney dolls and cartoons, and I like those things too. But for me, the story of Joseph Smith and the golden plates was right up there with Frozen. I wonder how she'd feel about Book of Mormon. It helped that he wasn't some distant figure from the pages of ancient history or an Old Testament saint from a far off land. Excuse me. He was kind of like us, a regular American from regular beginnings, and I loved that his story hadn't happened all that long ago, taking place recently enough that my blood ancestors, well, taking place recently enough that my blood ancestors, like the widow of Nauvoo, I don't know that, might have been his friend. Oh, the widow of Nauvoo, that's it. An early ancestor on my mom's side of the family lived in Nauvoo, Illinois in the 1840s. During the persecution of the LDS congregations, when a mob gathered to burn her house unless she denounced her faith, she stared them down fearless. "Burn it and be damned," she declared. Growing up, I had heard this story countless times. It was a sacred family legend. Some days I'd look out the window and daydream, imagining the widow of Nauvoo walking, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, walking this very same terrain as she journeyed west to start anew. She could feel the grit underfoot, the sun on her back as she dreamed of a future where she could finally be free from the horrors of her past. "Sherry, come set the table for dinner." Ugh, I hated it when Ruby interrupted my spiritual reveries to make me do chores. As I arranged the plates and napkins with practiced precision, my mind lingered on thoughts of the widow, standing tall before a crowd of skeptics, her eyes blazing with fire of conviction. In my mind's eye, I was right there beside her. Sometimes those moments felt more real to me than anything in the world around me. "No, no, the forks go on the left. How many times do I have to tell you?" Ruby tutted disapprovingly, my youngest brother still just a baby resting on her hip. Kevin's eyes flickered to mine with a sympathetic glimmer. I'd always felt a strong kinship with him, like we were shipmates sailing like we were shipmates sailing stormy waters side by side. There was a stoicism to him, a quiet strength that I couldn't help but admire. Kevin might not have been a visionary like Joseph Smith or an I, the iconoclast like Widow Nobu, but in his own way, he was a hero too, a man who had taken on the thankless task of being the nice guy in our family. Uh, As my mom fussed over dessert, cursing under her breath, "Ooh, I sat on my dad's lap, full of questions as always. Dad, why do we have to pay tithing? I asked, having just learned that everyone in my faith gives 10% of their income to the church. Doesn't God have enough money already? Kevin chuckled and tousled my hair. It's not about God having enough money, sweetie. Tithing is an ancient principle that goes back thousands of years. We give 1/10 of what we earn back to Him as an offering to show our gratitude and obedience. But what does the church do with all that money? I pressed. Well, the money goes to build temples and churches and to fund missionary work around the world. But tithing is about more than just giving money. It's a covenant, which means a special promise we make with God. By giving a portion of what we have to Him, we show that we trust Him to take care of us in return. I thought about this for a moment, trying to wrap my young mind around the concept. So it's like sharing our stuff with God, and then He shares His blessings with us. Exactly, Kevin smiled. When we can keep our promises to God, He blesses us in ways we can't even imagine. I nodded, feeling a sense of pride in being part of something so important. I want to pay tithing too, Dad. When I'm older and have my own money, I'm going to give 1/10 back to God, just like you do. Ruby, who had been listening quietly, chimed in. That's right, Sherry. A woman's first duty is to her husband and family, but if she makes money on top of that, God is especially happy when she pays her tithing. It shows that she's putting God first, even in her financial affairs. I looked up at I looked up at my mother, surprised and pleased by her approval. It felt good to know that there were so many ways a girl faithful ser- could be a faithful servant of the Lord, not just by being a dutiful wife and mother, but by contributing financially to the church as well. Do you wish you could make lots of money too to give to God? I asked Ruby, my eyes wide with curiosity. Ruby rolled her eyes. Sure, if you kids weren't so much work. Do you know how exhausting it is being your mom? But being a mother is a divine calling, and I know that by raising you in the faith. I'm doing God's work too, and that's reward enough. As she spoke, I couldn't help but think about my aunts who had started filming themselves with janky cameras, putting videos on the internet and making money out of it. We'd watch some of the videos together, and I wondered what it would look like if my mom started filming herself for YouTube. Ugh, that's kind of weird that it went from that. No, I thought she probably wouldn't want people to see how angry she is all the time. So that's the end of that chapter. What am I missing here? Are you guys enjoying me reading this? I'm just asking because like you guys are like reading your own stuff. Who's drinking Fresca? Do they still sell Fresca? RL, I think you already read the book, right? Were you the one that told me you read the book? Guys, I only am giving you a hard time when I don't care. I'm glad that you guys talk in the comments or in the chat. I gotta blow my nose. I'm sorry. Hang on. Guys, it is so cold here. And it's only gonna get colder. It's gonna be the coldest. um, um, I don't know if she had a ghostwriter, if she's just that talented. I don't know. I don't know. When you have a ghostwriter, you don't tend to say that. You know, Gypsy had co-authors that were written on the book's title. I mean, on the book's cover. I don't see where she does. I don't see where I don't see where Shari does. And if you remember, I think Shari said that she was keeping journals, right? So she probably enjoys writing. She might have had somebody edit the book, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, she probably also she writes very well as well. So I mean, it's more than just being intelligent. I think that there's everybody's good at something, right? Everybody's good at something. So everybody's got a calling or something. So what I'm reading here with and I could be wrong about Sherry, was I really got something out of the last chapter where she wrote something to the effect of um I don't know. Thank you so much for that. I don't know how you got my name in a different color, but I see it. I see it. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Um, what was I saying? Oh, I got from the last chapter that, she doesn't really have an interest in raising children. And she really doesn't have an interest in making a man her number one priority. Like, she doesn't really have an interest in that. I don't know if I mentioned this before, guys, but I live in upstate New York, and a lot of these religions came out of upstate New York, like Jehovah's Witness, Mormons. They came out of upstate New York. Joseph Smith, with the plates in the hat, he found those supposedly up here in upstate New York. Just a little trivia. All right, guys. Chapter 6, Ruby's Rage. Ruby's Rage sounds like the name of a boat. Ruby's Rage. Ruby was always angry with us, constantly on edge, primed to blow, no matter how small the irritation. I probably could have handled her blustering if it weren't for the edge of cruelty that so often colored her rages. I remember being in the bathroom experimenting with my kid's makeup palette. I must have been around 9 years old, and like many young girls testing the waters of cosmetics, my attempts were far from subtle. Like, far from subtle. What's surprising is that I don't understand the makeup in the Mormon church. Like, how were they allowed that and they couldn't drink Coca-Cola? Like, it's kind of weird. I don't know. Anyway, thought that they were more plain. The fact that she had cosmetics is weird to me. Don't you think, or no? It's 38 degrees. It's like 22 degrees here, and it feels like 15. So, Jonesy, you're a little bit better off, more better off than me. You're a little more better off than me. So hang on. Okay. Sorry, I'm behind on the comments. All right. Okay, my attempts were far from subtle. Think bold red lipstick, metallic eyeshadow. That could signal planes and foundation that bore little relation to my actual skin tone. I was a riot of clashing colors and misplaced enthusiasm. Ruby called me downstairs to the piano to practice a duet, one she loved to perform. This duet required a singing partner, and that role inevitably fell to me. I always dreaded these impromptu concerts, feeling like an unwilling actress thrust onto a stage I never asked to occupy. Reluctantly, I descended down the stairs, my face a wild rainbow, and grudgingly took my place at the piano. I played the notes mechanically, but I couldn't bring myself to sing. Sherry, why on earth aren't you singing? She snapped her fingers, stabbing at the keys. I don't know, Mom. My voice was barely a whisper. Maybe you have so much makeup on your face that you've forgotten how to listen to your mother, she said, her voice dripping with disdain. Perhaps I should smack it all off. Ruby's hand would often find its way to my face, a sharp sting of displeasure delivered with precision. Her slaps were calibrated. Never had enough to leave visible bruises, at least on me, but always sufficient to instill fear. In her twisted logic, she was molding obedience, sculpting compliance with each stinging blow. I also think we were just her punching bag, a way for her to release her anger. She always seemed calmer once she'd blown off steam on one of us. I hope that whoever is responsible for like allowing, you know, she could do as little as 4 years and as much as 60 years. You know that, right? Because in the state of Utah, it's not the judge that decides the stay of the sentence. It's the jailers that do. It's Tell me that's not messed up. So whoever has to make the decision on how long that crazy bitch stays in jail, I hope they read this book. Cuz 4 years, those kids are you can bet your ass that those kids, especially the two youngest ones, are still having nightmares about what happened to them, right? So, anyway, one day I was sitting cross-legged on my bedroom floor, engrossed in a book. And this is probably why she's a good writer as well, because she read a lot. One day I was sitting cross-legged on my bedroom floor, engrossed in a book, when I felt a sharp tug at the back of my head, followed by a faint snipping sound. Startled, I whirled around just in time to see Chad, my impish 7-year-old brother, darting past, a pair of scissors clutched in his hand and a mischievous grin on his face. My hand flew to the back of my head, where a small clump of hair was now conspicuously missing. Uh-oh. Chad! I yelled, leaping to my feet and chasing after him. What did you do? But he was gone, his laughter echoing down the hallway as he made his escape. Chad was already showing a tendency for pranking and clowning behavior, as many little boys are wont as many little boys are wont to do. All want to do. I don't know what that means. That's not English. Showing a tendency for pranking. I'm sorry, I said that out loud. That's not English. Showing a tendency for pranking and clowning behavior, as many little boys are wont to do. He seemed to delight in causing mischief and mayhem, and was always looking for new ways to get a rise out of people. I returned to my room, assessing the damage in the mirror. I knew there would be hell to pay. Ruby was obsessed with my thick, long brown hair and had forbidden me from ever cutting or altering it in any way. She always said that one day men would want to marry me just because of my beautiful locks. Suddenly, Ruby stormed in, holding a small clump of my hair. How could you do this to yourself? I didn't. Chad did it when I wasn't looking. Rage crackled around her like electricity. He was just playing a joke. You can't even tell it's gone. See, I said. Wait, I said that in the wrong tone. He was just playing a joke. You can't even tell it's gone. See, I said, attempting to diffuse the situation, but Ruby was having none of it. Chad, come here, Ruby yelled, her voice ringing through the house. I winced. Chad was in for it now. As I watched my little brother slink into the room, his eyes wide with trepidation, I felt a surge of protectiveness. Yes, he could be a little terror at times, but he was still my little brother, and I hated seeing him bear the brunt of Ruby's anger. What were you thinking cutting your sister's hair like that? She probably said that a little bit louder. What were you thinking about cutting your sister's hair like that? Ruby demanded in her voice icy. Chad shuffled his feet, looking down at the ground. I don't know. He shrugged, his lower lip trembling. I stepped forward, trying to intervene. Mom, it's not a big deal. It'll grow back. But Ruby ignored me, her attention focused solely on Chad. Come on, buddy. Let's go to the bathroom. Time for you to have a little haircut, too. Oh, fuck. I put that in there. I watched Frozen as Ruby marched Chad. I watched Frozen, not the movie. Not the movie. She's saying, I watched Frozen as Ruby marched Chad down the hallway, her hand clamped tight around his arm. A moment later, the buzz of the electric clippers. I held my breath, straining to hear any hint of what was happening. Then the bathroom door swung open and Chad shuffled out. His head hung low. Ruby had buzzed a thick, uneven stripe down the center of his head, leaving him with a harsh reverse mohawk. I had one of those once. That's the truth. Didn't quite happen like that, though. Tufts of hair stuck out at odd angles, making him look like a plucked chicken. There, Ruby said, satisfied with her work. Maybe next time you'll think twice before you decide to play barber. He was fucking 7 years old, right? What are we learning about jails and prisons and stuff? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we talking about? Cherokee girl. She looked to me, her eyes hard, and let that be a lesson to you too, Shari. In this house, we don't make excuses for other people's bad behavior. I nodded mutely, my throat too tight to speak. When Ruby went downstairs, I'd gathered my brother into my arms, stroking his ragged head. Sorry, Chad, I whispered, feeling a crushing sense of guilt. Where are we over here, guys? What am I missing? How come I feel like I'm missing stuff in the comments or the chat? What's going on? Guys, can I get you to give me a thumbs up, please? I got a few new members, and I thank you guys for that. I saw that in my doohickey thing. Thank you. All right. How we doing? We got chapter 7's next. I raged on the thumbs up button. Thank you, man. Appreciate that, Julie. Who's going to be sent to the corner? Guys, am I coming off too strong? Thank you, guys. Thank you for your thumbs up. Hey, Diet Pepsi drinker, how you doing? Trouble Buffs. Grateful Graham. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, come out of the corner. Mushinkin Mama. Come out of the corner. You're good to go. All right. So this we're chapter 7. Excuse me. I'm gonna keep belching because when I'm drinking here is sparkling water. It's Ingenious Green Apple. Hey, Jalen. We're not done reading yet, guys. We're not done reading. Thank you for coming here on Friday. Well, you're here now, Trouble Puffs. All right, guys. So this is chapter 7, and this is Refuge. I was 11, at the threshold of adolescence, my body and mind beginning to change in ways I didn't fully understand yet. Meanwhile, Ruby was pregnant with her 6th and final child, another girl, and our already full household was adjusting to the idea of yet another sibling joining our ranks. Our routine was fully established by now. We'd all wake up at 6:30 when the house came alive with the sound of piano, violin, or harp practice. Then we'd converge in the kitchen where Ruby would whip up oatmeal or eggs. Sometimes we'd squeeze in some scripture study over breakfast, since evenings were usually busy with everyone's after-school activities. Next week, we'd pack our own. Hang on. Next, we'd pack our own school. Next, we'd pack our own school lunches, a daily exercise in responsibility and self reliance. I remember watching my siblings standing on tiptoes, barely tall enough to reach the counter, carefully assembling sandwiches and selecting fruits. This is how you become a capable adult, Ruby would say. Then we'd head off to class. Ruby never drove us. Getting to school was another daily exercise in independence that she insisted would build character. Because of our ages, we weren't always at the same school, so our commutes varied. Some of us took the bus, a rumbling yellow behemoth that, wait. A big ass yellow bus that would pick us up and spit us out in the afternoon. For me, at the point in my life, it was a walk, about a mile. Wow, how old was she? A distance that seemed to stretch endlessly before me on those bitterly cold Utah mornings when the wind cut right through my coat. I'd power walk sometimes, breaking into a run, my backpack thumping against my spine. That line right there, my backpack thumping against my spine. That's a great line because everybody knows what that feels like. Birthdays were special, though. That's when Ruby would treat us with a ride home from school. That was very generous of her. The excitement of seeing her car in the pickup line, knowing I wouldn't have to make that long walk home, was better than any wrap gift. It was a glimpse of the mom I longed for every day, attentive, interested, present. We rarely had friends over at the house. It wasn't that we were explicitly forbidden from inviting friends into our home, but rather that our house seemed to repel social gatherings by its very nature. The cramped spaces, the constant presence of siblings, and Ruby's perpetual state of stress created an atmosphere that seemed to naturally discourage visitors. Most of my siblings found the middle ground, forming friendships with neighborhood kids and playing outside. This outdoor socializing seems safer somehow, less intrusive than bringing outsiders into the complex of dynamics of our household. For me, the very idea of inviting friends over felt foreign and uncomfortable. It wasn't that I lacked friends entirely, but rather that the thought of merging my school life with my home life filled me with a sense of dread I couldn't quite articulate. After school, family dinners were important to us, though they became more challenging to coordinate as we got older. Homework was usually done at the kitchen table in our old house since our bedrooms were too small for desks. There wasn't much time for TV, and a lot of the content wasn't deemed appropriate for us to watch. To this day, I often feel out of the loop with certain pop culture references. But I was allowed to watch SpongeBob SquarePants and The Simpsons, both of which I loved. And we did love watching movies together as a family. That became our family's default mode of dealing with tension or seeking comfort. We'd gather in the living room, the flickering light of the TV casting a soft glow on our faces, and for a couple hours, we'd feel at peace. Frozen and the Harry Potter films in particular were our favorites. I loved Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, the fifth movie in the series. There was something exotic about the hidden corners of London, the secretive nature of the Order's headquarters. I haven't watched any of these, but it was the story of Professor Dolores Umbridge that I enjoyed most. For some reason, the tyrannical, power hungry, condescending, sanctimonious sadist who ultimately faces her comeuppance. You know, the thing that I tell you everybody does that should get it. Like, I can't wait for Gypsy Rose. Her comeuppance. You know, her karma. Ruby, too, had her favorite Harry Potter moment, though hers came from Harry Potter and the Half Blood Prince, a scene where Dumbledore. I always thought it was Dumbledore, to be honest with you, because I've never seen it. I always thought they said Dumbledore. Dumbledore challenged about performing restricted magic within Hogwarts. I feel like I'm not speaking English, guys. Let me try again. Ruby, too, had her favorite Harry Potter moment, though hers came from Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. A scene from Dumbledore, challenged about performing restricted magic within Hogwarts, simply responds, "Being me has its privileges. Being me has its privileges." Okay. I guess that was said in the movie. You guys would know, right? Ruby would quote this line often. I believe it because that's who she was. Being me has its privileges. Anyway, she'd quote it with a glimmer in her eye. The idea of being above the rules clearly resonated with my mom. Sometimes she called her mom, and sometimes she called her Ruby, and it seems like she always called her dad Kevin, but it seemed like she had some sort of relationship with her dad, and it seems like they were able to quash things and that they have a good relationship now, her and her dad. I don't know squat about Harry Potter. I don't like the whatchamacallit. I don't really care for fantasy. You're talking about Gypsy. Hoy! You guys aren't sick about Gypsy? You guys really aren't sick about Gypsy? You don't get sick of the videos? Like, I'm asking, seriously. You guys aren't sick about her? This Mormon household was not as strict as a lot of the Mormon households. Danny's shaking her head no. I was no. Guys, I'm asking you seriously. I'm not trying to do anything. Almost sick of her. Almost. Okay. I'm tired of her, but not your videos about her. And sometimes I'm trying to reach to find different stuff to talk about her, different angles to talk about. I got to tell you, Trixie Lane put out some really fascinating videos. You got to check them out. They're very, what's the word I want to use? They're very particular about stuff that wasn't even considered. So you should check them out. Yeah, seriously, you guys got to check those out. Trixie has very good content. Absolutely. So does 1980 Millennium. I can't mention everybody. Yeah, very interesting stuff. I feel for your husband, Lady Lolo. All right, we ready to go? Oh, okay. This is great. All right, so we're still on the same chapter. I just wanted to see. I will tell you all, Toddy and Ivory Rose are my. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Trixie's got some very interesting. Very interesting. I thought that I would talk a little bit about her video. I did a video with her, by the way. She's a really nice young lady. I don't know how young she is. I shouldn't call her young. But at 61, she's younger than me. I'm 61. She is not. So, Ivory Rose, is that Ivory Rose Grows? Or is that the other Ivory Rose? I always get them so confused. Yes, the history of the BDSM. That's correct. That's correct, Diet Pepsi drinker. And where that came from. And the theory of David Blanchard. Thank you. Is the one I like. Ivory Rose Nose. Okay. So she's the older one with the darker hair, with the dark hair. That lady. I like her too. I liked the other woman too, the one on the bayou, except I I don't know. The money thing got me. I don't know. 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 I shouldn't say anything. Maybe she's just so picked on that she just Okay, let's go. It was during this time of awkward adolescence that I developed a new habit, picking at my lips until they bled. What was that? Was that you, Milo? This nervous tic seemed to emerge from nowhere, yet quickly became a constant in my daily life. I would catch sight of myself in the mirror, noticing the small scabs on my lips. I tried to hide the marks, knowing the sight of them would trigger Ruby's anger. Look at your face, Shari, she'd scold. You have to stop. No man is ever going to want to marry you. With a bunch of ugly scars all over your lips. At night, I prayed for unblemished skin, a pretty face, all the things I needed to be for my future husband. Still, whether it was hormones or just the culminative anxiety caused by living with Ruby, my anxiety seemed to be spiraling like never before. I needed an outlet, some way to express my feelings. That's when I started to really lean into my practice of nightly journaling. See, she was a writer. She was a writer. Who's rude? Who was being rude? Don't be rude to people. Who was reading? Oh, Woo Woo, the girl, that girl. Oh, it's terrible mother and daughter relationship. It's Ruby Frankie, terrible relationship with anybody. She didn't even have a good one with her husband apparently, or her son, right? All right. Danny, it was just me getting comfortable. Sorry to wake you. Record keeping is deeply ingrained in the LDS faith. It's a sacred duty, a way of bearing witness to God's hands in our daily life. We're taught that our personal histories will serve as testaments for our future. For future generations. Spiritual roadmaps guiding our descendants through their mortal journeys. Every night without fail, Ruby would make her rounds with a reminder. Did you write about what we did today? Don't forget to mention that funny thing your brother said. We all responded to this nightly ritual with a varying with varying levels of enthusiasm. I was definitely the most consistent writer among my siblings. In those quiet moments before sleep, hunched over my journal by the dim glow of a reading lamp, I could be me. On the page, excuse me, I'm going to belch. It's a good thing I pull away from the microphone, huh? All right. Let me unpin this so that you don't feel so special anymore. Do we know what breed Tottie's puppies are? Yeah, they're dogs. They're dogs. One of them's a boxer. Milo. Your name's Danny. And Danny is a Labrador hound mix. She ain't nothing but a hound dog. And she's got spots on her. And she's really pretty. She's a really pretty girl. She's really quiet too. Like she's really quiet. She's a really quiet. Nope, they're not small dogs. Nope. All right. On the page, I could express my anxieties and frustrations with my parents, ponder the pressures of being a teenager, and wonder about all these new feelings I was having about boys. Journal. So this is from her journal. She wrote, Mom and Dad pulled me into the room tonight. They said that all of my friend problems in school were my fault. They said that I'm not a fun person to be around and nobody gets me, which may be true. Then they said it seems like I try on purpose to annoy my family. That's not funny. But the truth is, I just don't enjoy being around them. Ruby and Kevin are the ones who annoy me. I finally got invited. This is still in the journal, okay? I finally got invited to a Popular's party. It's super hard to get invited, so I was excited and I thought mom and dad would be pleased because they're always saying I don't have enough friends. Instead, they said I can't go to the party if there are going to be boys there, which means I'll have to stay home. I'm so mad. Can't they see I'm growing up? I'm not their baby girl anymore. I can manage myself. I'm so mad at mom sometimes. Whenever she helps me practice piano, she promises not to yell, but by the time we are done, she's screaming at the top of her lungs. She is so stressed, uptight, and strict that it's impossible to have fun or relax when she's around. Dad, on the other hand, is loose, easygoing, and handles stress very well. One thing's for sure, I'm a daddy's girl. Mom has become the Mom has become obsessed with this place called West Point Military Academy, which means she now punishes us by making us condition like soldiers. For example, earlier today she got mad at Chad and me for not putting away the clothes. She punished us by making us run around the block 5 times. Then at dinner, Chad was hiding and refusing to help me clear the table, so Ruby made us both do push-ups. Chad for shirking his responsibilities, me for not being a leader. So that's stuff she wrote in her journal. Okay, this she's written, this isn't in her journal. I yearn for my mom's guidance, her support, her friendship during this insecure time of puberty, but Ruby maintained a strict emotional distance, as if affection might somehow compromise her authority. Remember, I'm not your friend, I'm your mom, she'd say, whenever I asked her why we couldn't do things like go to lunch together, like I saw my friends going with their moms. My job is to train you how to be ready for the world. When you're an adult, we can be friends. Eventually, I gave up on the idea of being close to Ruby and just saved my feelings for my diary. In this emotional desert, I did find additional solace in the worlds of literature and history. Charles Dickens, Jane Austen, and Dostoevsky. Authors became my companions, offering insights into life, family, and love that I knew I couldn't get from my mom. While fiction offered an escape, a chance to live 1,000 lives between the covers of books, it was nonfiction that truly captured my heart and mind. History, in particular, became my obsession. In the Second World War in middle school, I read more than 100 books on World War II, and my teacher ended up having me teach the section of history because I knew more than he did. As I delved into stories of courage and resilience during humanity's darkest hours, like Anne Frank's diary, my own struggles began to shift into perspective. The hardships faced by those who lived through the war, the fear, the loss, the unimaginable choices made my own challenges seem more manageable, if not insignificant. And what was comforting in a way, and that was comforting in a way. Danny doesn't know what she wants to play with. One day I walked into my history class, clutching my latest library find, a thick, worn volume on the rise and fall of the Third Reich. As I slid into my seat, my friend eyed the book with a mixture of curiosity and disbelief. She wrinkled her nose. Isn't that kind of a heavy topic, Shari? Yeah, it is heavy, I admitted, running my hand over the book's worn spine. But the Nazi rise in Europe is really important for us to study. Don't you want to know about the suffering and cruelty of the Holocaust, the millions of lives extinguished in the name of the Aryan supremacy? As the words left my mouth, I realized how intense I must have sounded. My friend's expression softened, but I could see the discomfort lingering in her eyes. Of course, but I don't want to think about it all the time, Shari. It's sad. I know it's sad, I said, but it's also inspiring. People survived, they resisted, they held on to hope in the darkest times. I think that's something we can all learn from. I hear like a noise. I don't know what it is. What are we doing? Who's in trouble? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? People are singing. I'll sing in the sunshine. Oh, we're talking about dogs. Okay. Dogs are okay. That's cool. That's cool. We're all good. Y'all are behaving yourselves. Talking dogs. Talking dogs. Guys, I'm on page 40 of the book. It says part 2. It would be chapter 8. We'll read one more chapter. What do you think? Let me see what Danny's doing. Okay, hang on. I'm sorry. I don't mean to yawn at you guys. Hang on. I want to see what my dog's doing. What are you doing, babes? What are you doing? Shaking your head no at me? Come here. Come here, little girl. What are you doing, huh? What are you doing, sweetie? What are you doing, baby girl? Oh, does that feel good? Does that feel good? I love you. I love you so much. I love you so much. You're such a pretty girl. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. Yes, you are. All right. Hi, Milo. All right. It makes you feel normal, me talking to the dog. Danny, do you feel normal with me talking to you? Ringo. I have a mid-sized dog. She's about 40 pounds. No idea what she is. I know what Danny is because I did a DNA test on her because she's a peculiar dog and I wanted to know what was going on with her. So, but she's a rescue dog. She's got issues, but they're my issues now. I love her. I love her. I love you, right, little girl? Yes, I do. You got a spot on you, Danny. See, mommy, I got a bunch of them. All right. So I just, I got her in May and she was having a hard time in the apartment. I think because of the mechanical noises in the apartment. I don't think she likes it. We all have issues, Jamie. That's right. And she does have issues. She's my little girl and I love her. She's my girl. Bella has a crooked tail. You practice swaddling your dog. Is Into the Weeds podcast. How you doing? How's everybody doing? She took Milo's toy. She took Milo's toy. Oh, wait. I have a weather thing going. Hang on. I got a weather thing going. So there's a winter storm watch starting starting Sunday at noon, ending 7 a.m. Monday morning. A winter storm watch. And I'm working Sunday. I'm supposed to be off on Sunday, but I am working Sunday. So I'll probably leave here about 6 o'clock maybe and head on to work. I guess it says snow, winter storm watch. I don't know I don't know. I don't want to read that to you guys. You're not going to make me read that to you, are you? Oh, it's just maybe it's not snow. Maybe it's just the Arctic temperatures. It's gonna be fucking horrible. Oh God, terrible. And Danny's so peculiar. She's so peculiar. How'd you guys get me in orange? I want to know how'd you get my name in orange there to bring up. How'd you do that to bring up to bring the attention to me? Jamie, I'm asking you, how did you get my name in orange there? Somebody else did earlier. Jamie, I'm waiting for an answer, man. Come on, man, answer me. Has anybody seen Jamie fall on some ice? Oh, put at before the name. Okay. Guys, go to the Facebook page, see Jamie break her neck on ice. She didn't break her neck, thankfully, but she fell. People want to know the info to write to Nick and also to write a letter about him. I have this stuff in the community page, and that stuff is also on the Facebook. And Holly Jolly knows exactly where it is because Holly Jolly is the one that put that out there for us. Big, huge thanks to Holly Jolly. So you'd have to scroll on the community to find it. There's both. And or on the Facebook page. The Facebook page is Toddy One Skip. I promise it's there. I was on it this morning. A lot of you guys sent me pictures of the bracelets that you guys got. I got some more bracelets, by the way. Okay. I think I got an email from you into the Weeds podcast earlier, right? I will. I promise I will look at it before I talk about it. I don't see a lot. I have 2 bracelets on too. All right. So you want me to continue on? All right, give me 1 second. Just give me a second. Tell me why you cried and why you lied to me. What are you doing, Danny Banani? You playing with your toys? All the money with the toys, Danny? All right. Good things happen when my palms itch. I almost said paws, but palms. Possum had 2 more. Had more than 2 bracelets. Who had 2 bracelets? I love my bracelets. I love the bracelets too. They came out good. I like them. I'm still working on some merchandise, guys. It's going a little bit slower than I anticipated. I'm gonna have to take a day off from doing videos and do merchandise stuff, and also do the taxes and figure out. I gotta figure out the monies because remember 10% of the videos of gypsies are going towards like wheelchairs. So I got to find out how much money that is. The Garrison thing, the Mike, shit, the Mike Rinder videos. Since he passed, that money is that's 50%. That money is going to, he wanted money to go to his son Jack's college fund. So we're going to do all of the Mike Rinder videos, not just the one, but 50% of all of the Mike Rinder videos are going to go to, that's after my taxes, guys. I got to pay a third of taxes here in New York, but I will show you guys so that you see where the money is going. Anytime it doesn't seem to matter. When my palms itch, good things seem to happen for me. I'm grateful to say. Excuse me while I kiss the sky. Danny's chewing on an antler, not an antler. Like, what is that? It's not an antler. It's black and it's like a ram, like a ram's thing. Oh, right palm is money. Yeah, I think the merch will be pretty easy because I see what I want. Left hand means money leaving. Guys, I'm just telling you, I thought you liked girls. I do like girls. What do you? Yeah, it's a ram horn. Why did somebody ask me if I like girls? Where'd that come up? I mean, I do. It's not a pig ear. No, it's not a pig ear. Kiss the sky. Singing, excuse me while I kiss the sky. Not the guy. But if I was going to kiss any guy, his name would be Milo. Where's my book? Why can't I turn my book on? Where's my book, Milo? Here we go. Okay. Who's blushing? Oh, you know it was a joke. Okay. All right. Okay. I couldn't read. Can't read. Can't read if it's a joke or not. You'd kiss Milo? He'd let you kiss him too. He's a good boy. Milo, they want to give you kisses. Kisses on the faces. Okay. Part 2, Ship of Fools. Because when I'm done with this, I'm taking the dogs out and I'm going to sleep. I use Chewy too. Some stuff from Chewy. Okay. Chapter 8, A Star is Born. By the way, my favorite movie from 1976. The 1976 version, Chris Christopherson, Barbara Streisand. A Star is Born. Ruby's life was about to pivot. Pivot! Remember that from Friends? Pivot! She had approached motherhood with the intensity of an Olympic athlete training for gold. Her identity singularly focused on procreation for more than a decade. But now, age 30, with their sixth and last baby weaned, the Franke family was finally complete, leaving her with a strange mix of accomplishment and unease, questioning what came next. She needed a fresh outlet for her energy and ambition. Ruby's sisters, Ellie and Bonnie, were already finding success on YouTube as content creators. Ellie's channel, Ellie and Jared, launched in 2011, was particularly thriving, documenting her struggles with infertility. Ellie's vlog, short for video blog, had built a following of women who saw their own longing reflected in her journey, filling her comment section with messages of support and solidarity, holding their collective breath with each new treatment cycle. When Ellie finally got pregnant after 3 years of trying and posting about it 3 times a week, her vlog hit 1,000 subscribers. In the vlogging world, this was a significant milestone. It meant YouTube started taking her seriously, opening doors for monetization, though through advertising, sponsorships, and merchandise sales. From there, Ellie's subscriber base had grown exponentially, and with it, her income. Bonnie, the bubbliest of the siblings, had started her own channel in 2013. Married to her high school sweetheart, she followed in Ellie's digital footsteps, crafting content around the universal themes of pregnancy and child rearing. Her channel named Bonnie, her channel named Bonnie Holein. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. Hoellein. Holein quickly gained momentum, riding the crest of the family vlogging wave that surged across YouTube between 2012 and 2015. This era marked a seismic shift in social media content. Ordinary people from diverse backgrounds began offering viewers an unfiltered lens into their lives, capturing everything from mundane morning routines to milestone moments. Family vlogs, in particular, struck a chord, transforming kitchen tables and living rooms into stages for a new kind of reality show. The most adept of these digital storytellers found themselves at the helm of a peculiar new industry. They were turning bedtime stories and first steps into an ad revenue and sponsorship deals, blurring the lines between intimate family moments and marketable content. It was a brave new world where a camera ready smile and a knack for a wholesome narrative could can transmute. Wow. All right, let me just finish this sentence. It's a long one, but I just see it all. This is just it. This just puts into words exactly. The sentence is just perfectly what I think Ruby Frankie did. It was a brave new world where a camera ready smile and a knack for wholesome narrative could transmute domestic life into a lucrative enterprise. It's exactly what she did. As Ruby scrolled through her sister's videos, a spark of inspiration ignited. Ellie and Bonnie were becoming vanguards of the family vlogging revolution. But wasn't Ruby the one with the largest brood of all? 6 children, each a character in their own right, a ready made cast for their new type of reality show? The potential was there, waiting to be tapped. If Ellie and Bonnie could transform the mundane into gold, surely Ruby could craft an empire and prove to the world and perhaps to herself that she, Ruby Franke, was not just a mom, but a matriarch worthy of widespread admiration and emulation. In a moment of clarity, the perfect name for her YouTube channel crystallized in Ruby's mind: 8 Passengers. It was elegant in its simplicity, yet rich with meaning, encapsulating our family's journey. Ruby and Kevin at the helm, with their 6 children as their precious cargo. In January 2015, Ruby's vision materialized with the official launch of 8 Passengers on YouTube. The channel would become a stage for our family drama, a curated window into the Frankie household and our everyday lives. Kevin, ever supportive, claimed the honor of being the first subscriber. Ruby was the second, and I, about to turn 12, and caught up in the excitement of this new family venture, eagerly claimed the third spot. To me, it all seemed so innocent, just a fun new project, way to share our lives with the world. But as Ruby practiced her opening lines to an imaginary audience, I wonder if perhaps she felt a familiar flutter in her stomach, the same nervous energy that accompanied each of her pregnancies. After all, she was in a sense giving birth again, this time to a new version of herself and a new chapter in our family's history, in our family's story, in our family's story. What are we talking about? Ugh. In many ways, family vlogging is a very LDS aligned pursuit, a natural extension of our traditional practices. Vlogging offers a modern form of bearing testimony and keeping personal and family records while simultaneously engaging in passive missionary work. Vlogs mean church members can share their faith, values, and daily lives with a global audience, potentially attracting interest in the church and its teachings. In a way, the synergy between YouTube and LDS families seemed almost predestined, fitting perfectly with the church's desire to be in the world but not of the world, allowing members to engage with modern culture while maintaining our distinct values and beliefs. Perhaps that's why Utah and broader LDS community and the broader LDS community have become such powerhouses in the realms of family vlogging and traditional lifestyle content creation. Some of the earliest and most successful family vlogging channels have come from our communities, documenting life with multiple children, showcasing the appeal of family life to a mainstream audience while demonstrating how modern media can be harnessed to share testimonies and values in a relatable, engaging way. Totally different than what Gypsy was talking about, huh? I hate to throw her in this, but I was just talking when I did a video this morning about what she was bullshitting about on her little channel of almost 10 million people. Who knew that in the age of viral scandals and cancel culture, it would be the wholesome, family centered content of LDS vloggers that would capture the world's attention? And who could have foreseen that my own family would come to embody both the whole, the wholesome ideal and the scandalous? Let me reread that because it didn't come out right. And who could have foreseen that my own family would come to embody both the wholesome ideal and the scandalous, becoming a cautionary tale of what happens when the line between authenticity and performance becomes blurred beyond recognition. What happens when it becomes blurred beyond recognition? That is the question. Guys, we're going to read one more chapter. We'll read 5 chapters until we finish the book. How's that? Each time? Oh, hi, Danny. She's playing with her toys. Is there anything that I need to see? They have so much money and information. Who has money? Who has information? Oh, the church. Yeah. Guys, have you guys seen the Book of Mormon? That's so funny. I laughed so much. This is my favorite Broadway show, The Book of Mormon. I want to see it again. It was so funny. It's so funny. I can't believe that it's still playing. I can't believe that nobody got sued over that. Like, it is so funny. I just can't believe that somebody didn't get sued over that. I'm serious. All right. Hey, son, seed of the sun. Hi, seed of the sun. Are you going to bed? Grateful Graham? Oh, okay. Everybody indulge. As AG Tactical says, everybody indulge. What does she say? All right, chapter 9, guys. You ready? You ready? Are you ready? Eating apple crisps. I like them. I have chocolate covered bananas. Dark chocolate covered bananas. Danny is so pretty. I'm just looking at her. She's looking at the television set. Like she's watching it. And then she looks at me. I love you. You're so pretty. You're such a good girl. Okay. Chapter 9. Baby climbs out of crib. I actually don't remember the exact moment when the cameras first started rolling. All I know is that one day we were just a regular family going about our lives. The next, there was a janky camera constantly pointing in our direction, documenting our every move for the consumption of strangers on the internet. Ruby posted her first video on January 8th, 2015, with my youngest sister in the starring role. It began with footage from her gender reveal party in 2013. In our kitchen, the five of us children and Ruby are filmed with Kevin as we gather around the cake on the kitchen counter. Ruby's pregnancy bump clearly visible. Unlike gypsies, Kevin asks a question from behind the camera. So what are we doing today? He asks. Cutting a cake, and inside is the color of the baby. Chad exclaims, excited. His disappointment is palpable as Ruby slices into the cake, revealing a pink sponge interior. The scene shifts to the hospital where Ruby cradles our newborn sister, her sixth and the youngest child, a tiny pink bow perched atop her nearly bald head. We kids fuss and coo over our new sibling, our faces alight with wonder. My youngest brother is shown cradling the tiny infant in his arms. Give her a kiss, Ruby gently coaxes. He leans in, placing a soft kiss on her forehead. Say I love you, Ruby encourages. I love you, he whispers. The video then cuts to my youngest sister, now a toddler, sprawling on the kitchen table, eyeing me and my banana with unmistakable interest. She rises, her steps wobbly but determined, and takes a hearty bite when offered the fruit. Ruby's novice editing skills become apparent in the next shot, featuring our beloved yellow lab, Nolly. Charming footage, except it was upside down. That's funny. And that was that. Ruby's entry into the world of family vlogging. Nothing Oscar winning by any means. 2 weeks later, Ruby dropped her second video, tasting sushi for the first time. Picture this, Ruby out with Kevin's academic buddies, bravely facing down her first plate of sushi. Spoiler alert, she's not a fan. The end. A few days later, video number 3. Meet the 8 passengers. Chad introducing my 10-year-old blonde, blue-eyed prankster of a brother. It was cute and people liked it and so on. My mom kept making videos starring us and posting them to 8 passengers. Little did we know this bizarre ritual would come to dominate our lives for the next 7.5 years. We never chose to be internet celebrities, but that made no difference. Soon our lives now revolved around nonstop content creation, whether we liked it or not. Birthdays, barbecues, even lazy Sunday afternoons. No moment was too mundane to escape documentation. Ruby, her sisters, and her brother Bo, who had also jumped aboard the vlogging bandwagon, were now constantly filming us for their respective vlogs. You couldn't sneeze without it being immortalized from multiple angles. My mom and her sisters seemed to operate on some unspoken biological synchronicity and had an uncanny tendency to get pregnant around the same time, as if their bodies were attuned to some shared familial rhythm. Except for me and Chad, who had no cousins the same age, the cousins on my mom's side grouped neatly into the age brackets, creating miniature cohorts that mirrored each other in age and development. Growing in wait, Growing up in tandem, perfect for the ants to share their milestones and experiences on YouTube. It was a content creator's dream. But for me, a 12-year-old girl, this constant surveillance was excruciating. All I wanted was to grow up in peace, deal with my bodily changes and these pesky new zits without it being recorded. But my mom was omnipresent, her phone an extension of her arm, her directing us like a Hollywood producer. Do this, Sherry. Do that, Sherry. We're filming. Smile, Sherry. Say good morning. I was beginning to feel like a sideshow freak. Step right up and witness Sherry, the amazingly awkward adolescent in all her cringeworthy glory. The worst part? The internet ate it up. Everyone seemed to love what Ruby was posting, which of course encouraged her to post more. She approached YouTube with the dedication of a startup CEO, putting in long hours, day after day. She had done her homework and knew in the wild west of social media, consistency is king. You have to post regularly, which meant every little moment was mined for content. First steps, lost teeth, epic tantrums, you name it, Ruby filmed it. Laser focused on building her subscriber base. Knowingly, vlogging was a numbers game, and Ruby had always been good with numbers. She knew the main The main way vloggers make money is through YouTube's AdSense program. But you have to hit 1,000 subscriber milestone. But you have to hit 1,000 subscriber milestone. And rack up 4,000 hours of watch time in the last year to qualify. Once you've checked those boxes, you start making money. Every time someone watches or clicks or an ad in your videos, Ruby became hyper focused on getting those first 1,000 subscribers. It was her golden ticket to the big leagues. I interrupt our regular schedule to make an announcement. Ruby said on July 9th, 2015, filming a special announcement video, "We have hit over 1,000 subscribers. I am so excited, especially considering the last month we had 142. It had taken her about 6 months to hit that magic number. Not long ago, after the gravity of how much this YouTube thing was going to turn our lives upside down finally sank in, I was sitting at the kitchen table feeding my youngest sister applesauce when Ruby burst into the kitchen, her face flushed with excitement. "Shari, you won't believe this," Ruby announced. "Our little lady is a bona fide internet sensation." She scooped my 2-year-old sister out of her high chair and twirled her around. "What do you mean, Mom?" "I mean that video of her climbing out of her crib. It's gone viral, 50,000 views and counting." "Wow, that's a lot of people." "I didn't get it. My sister in her nursery had climbed out of her crib for the first time. What was so interesting about that?" Ruby laughed, planting a kiss on my sister's cheek. "Isn't it amazing, our little family touching so many lives?" As I watched her practically dance out of the room, I felt a sinking sensation in my gut. Our lives were already starting to feel like a reality show. Did going viral mean we were about to go prime time? As the weeks turned into months, the crib video continued its astonishing ascent, racking up views by the millions. 10 million, 20 million. By year's end, an unfathomable 50 million. Wow. Strangers had glimpsed into our lives. Meanwhile, our subscriber count was climbing steadily. By September, we had reached 5,000 subscribers, then 100,000 by April, 400,000 come August. Unfathomable reach. From Louisiana to Laos, Kentucky to Kenya, it was surreal. Watching the subscriber numbers tick upward, I could barely believe each one represented a real person out there in the world who had chosen to watch videos like spiders, slugs, and snails. Oh my, and Dutch braid your own hair? Not to mention the horror movie that was Shari's piano recital, the first, but certainly not the last. Ruby would take one of my most awkward moments and turn it into the story of the week. As the numbers climbed, a nagging thought kept creeping into my mind. Surely at some point people would get bored of this. Surely one day this would all end and our lives could go back to normal. Little did I know then that normal was a luxury we had already left far behind. Guys, we are on chapter 10. So we're gonna put the little bookmark there. I have an interview tomorrow, so I won't be able to continue reading the book tomorrow. We can start reading. Do you want me to start reading the book back on Monday? We can start reading at 2:00 on Monday. Are you guys enjoying this seriously? No, thanks. It's an interview with I'm gonna finish up the Mrs. J interviews. So I'm finishing up that. I have a few more videos to go over with Mrs. J. We're gonna do that tomorrow. And then I'll put that video up. What's that noise? And then I'll put that video up, and then we can meet back here Monday at 2:00. I like the interviews with her too. I like that. I'm glad that you guys like the reading. I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that. Um, I'm gonna have to take the dogs out. It looks like it's gonna rain or snow. I don't think there's any snow coming today, but I definitely think that I need to just take the dogs out because then I need to go lay back down and go to sleep because I got to go back to work tonight. So I think that that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. Okay. So you guys, it's the inauguration on Monday. What do you guys want to do? You guys let me know if you want. You can, if you guys want to watch the inauguration. Okay, well, I'll continue reading on Monday. All right, then we'll do Monday. And those of you, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, let's do Monday. And those of you that want to watch the inauguration, watch it, and you can catch up with the book later. You don't have, you guys don't have to watch me read the book. You could just have it in the background if you want. If you're interested in the book, you know what I'm saying? Again, I think it's a really well-written book. Guys, I'm gonna go to sleep and I'm gonna can you hear Danny? I'm gonna go to sleep and yeah. I'll put some videos up. Hopefully you'll have some videos in the morning. I try to make sure that there's videos up when you guys wake up and everything. So I really appreciate you guys for everything. I love it. I love it. All right, guys. So I'll see you on the next one and we'll read 5 more chapters. And at some point we'll read my book. All right, guys. Don't forget, be better today than you were yesterday, not half as good as you'll be tomorrow. I appreciate you guys, all of you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your day, and I mean that. I mean that. I'm looking you dead in the eye. I mean that. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.